Hey guys, welcome back to Werner Farms. So behind me is the 4230 sprayer that we have. I know there's probably only one of these in existence, and this has probably been one of the most requested videos, and as of tonight, you guys are getting it. So, we bought this tractor back in the 1990s, we believe. Dad can't remember honestly, but he believes it was in the 90s. When we bought it on an auction, and I believe it was on a dairy farm when we bought, or where we bought it. And it's a 73 or 74, 1970s, 73 or 74. Don't know offhand unless we check the serial number. When we bought it, it had just over 10,000 hours on it. So a year after Dad built this whole sprayer setup, the engine was overhauled then. So this does have an overhaul on it, at least one overhaul what we did. So the tractor was actually bought second. The tanks were we actually had the Chem Farm tanks, the two 250-gallon Chem Farm saddle tanks. We actually had those. Those were actually used on the 4650. So some of you guys, if you pay attention to any of my videos, you've seen our 30, I believe it's a 30-foot Tiger Mate field cultivator, DMI. I believe it's a 30, might be a 25. So those were mounted on the front of the 4650, and back then we field cultivated and applied herbicide, and behind the field cultivator we had the planter hooked up to the field cultivator. So we essentially sprayed, field cultivated, and planted with a 36-inch planter all at the same time during that time. We only did that for about 2 years because we realized how inefficient it was to on the planter, because we could get more ground covered with the planter in a day than we could doing that. So 2 years later, we switched that off and took the Chem Farm tanks off and began utilizing a pole type sprayer up until Dad built this sprayer then, or this sprayer setup. So the first piece that Dad bought was he bought the rear 3-point mount tank. So this actually had a set of 30-foot booms on it, and he actually bought this from A&M Farm Equipment, or A&M, John Deere over in Valparaiso. A lot of you guys in the area will know or remember who A&M was before Castonia's bought them. And then actually the next day he bought the 4230 on auction, and then shortly after that then he bought the 60-foot top air booms. They're actually 3-point mount, but we actually have them mounted on the front. He bought these from A&M as well. So I believe it was like that next very week after he bought the tractor, because he bought the tank, the sprayer tank with the 30-foot booms from A&M on a Friday, and then Saturday he bought the 4230 on auction, and I believe that very next week he bought the booms from A&M. So kind of going from the front to the back, we'll start with the high crop assembly. The high crop assembly came from Sikeston, Missouri. I'll probably just throw up an image of where Sikeston's located for those of you that don't know. The high crop assembly came off of a 4240, and he bought that from Boot Heel Tractor Supply, or Boot Heel Tractor Parts. I don't know. I imagine they're still in business. I don't know. I didn't look that up to see. So the front wheels came off of a Gleaner combine. So those were actually, up until I think 2 years ago, they were like a reddish orange. Up until 2 years ago though, we did mask them off and paint them yellow, or John Deere yellow with spray paint, just to kind of make it look a little better and we touched up the rear wheels, or the rear rims also, because those were kind of starting to fade a little bit, but it didn't really do it much justice. As you can see on these back custom special rims that my dad designed, because the high crop assembly wouldn't work originally with 30-inch rows, since we wanted to utilize this sprayer on 30-inch rows, because at the time we had, or were going to eventually, I don't remember if we still had the 36-inch planter then or not, and we wanted to utilize this, or have the ability to utilize it on 30-inch rows. So he ended up making taking the original 38-inch rims and making it so that it would work on the high crop assembly, and he made them custom 46-inch rims on this, because we run 420/80 R46s Michelin Agribib tires on this. Actually, we bought these tires 2-3 years ago, and Dad says, since he's the one who mostly runs this, or actually pretty much has only run this, as he does all the spraying. I did spray this year though, 50 acres, first time with the tractor. Had some tracks to follow though, so still learning on it. But anyways, he said these tires are phenomenal. They ride really good, so he really likes the Michelin's on. I guess that's pretty much it for an overview on what he did, on how he made this. I believe he did this back in the 1990s, and yes, we still, like I said, use this today. If you want to see it in action, I do have some videos on it. You can check out the spraying videos. I believe I have 4 spraying videos on this. Current hours, I don't believe the hours are correct on what it shows on total current hours, obviously, because it did have an overhaul. So as of right now, I don't know if this was it shows 2,197, I believe. Like I said, I'm not sure if that is before or after the overhaul, or well, not before, but what the current hours are exactly after the overhaul. So if that's correct or not. So we do run a Henniker rate controller on here. We do have a Fozzie valve for the booms, and as I said earlier, the tank on the back is 3-point mounted. So this switch box here is for the foam marker that we have, since as you can see we do have a little foam marker tank on the front, and I guess that's basically it. We do have before I forget, we do have a brown box for AB line guidance for when we're spraying beans. He uses that for. The only reason why we can't run auto steer in this is we tried to see if John Deere would see if this would work, and they said it wouldn't, just because of how high the tractor sits, and basically by having it set this high and where the globe would be positioned, it wouldn't be accurate or accurate enough for spraying, so they didn't recommend doing that. So that's why we don't run auto steer on this, because I know a lot of you guys are like, why don't you run auto steer on your sprayer? Well, that's the reason. We don't have the capabilities to actually run John Deere auto steer. Now, we've never checked into, like, say, Ag Leader or Trimble. I don't know if Trimble's part of Ag Leader or not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't venture too much out of the auto steer outside of John Deere, really, for auto steer wise. But we never really checked into other companies for auto steer for this, because eventually we would like to update this sprayer. Now, mostly just because this is getting up in age, and we've had a lot of issues for hydraulic hoses underneath the dash there. So we've had to do that, I think, just about every single year, at least replace one hose or one, just one hose really just about every year. We were actually looking at earlier this year, I believe we were looking at either 80 or 90 foot booms, but we realized how high our sprayer sits off the ground and where the booms are actually mounted, it wouldn't work because they would stick up too high in the air and they would catch the tree limbs as we're driving down the road. We tried to see if we could mount them low enough that they wouldn't, but it wouldn't actually work out, especially for when how heavy they are also. So we thought about mounting them in the rear. It wouldn't really work either. So we thought we could. Originally, Dad always wanted to put 80 or 90 foot booms on it. I don't remember what we were looking at earlier this year, either 80 or 90. But it just wouldn't work out. We didn't really look into it until I actually started shopping around and I found some, and we actually went down to Kankakee, Illinois and looked at one, and yeah, like I said, it wouldn't work. But yeah, what would I like to replace this with? Personally, I like the 4830s. The 4830s are really nice. Boom width. We currently run 60, so I definitely want something bigger than 60. Obviously, I know the 30 series sprayers did not come on, I don't think they came with 60-foot booms. Maybe the 4630 series did. I know anything above that, though, I'm pretty confident they didn't offer 60-foot booms in those, though, in the 4730s and 4830s, and definitely not the 4930s, because I know those came with 120-foot booms. In all honesty, we've definitely kicked the idea around of wanting to go 120 foot. Why? We spray a lot of wheat. Now, I know a lot of you guys out west are like, that 120 acres isn't really a lot of wheat. For in this area, it's kind of a lot because there's not a lot of wheat grown in this area to begin with. And the reason why we incorporate wheat and are incorporating more and more acres every year is because we're realizing how big of a benefit it is to do double crop beans and plant corn after a wheat double crop bean rotation. We've seen yield increases doing that, and double crop beans pay. I mean, honestly, we're seeing I think this year 50s on double crop beans, so we're doing it pretty good, I feel, doing the double crop beans after wheat. It's just a matter of you're gonna have to dry the wheat depending on when you get it planted or what type of variety you plant. So we always try and get the earliest wheat that we can from Pioneer, so we can get it off early enough. If we can without drying it, we do dry wheat though sometimes, and sometimes store it. So, but yeah, so that's why I would kind of like to replace it with 120 foot booms, maybe. I'd go 100 even, or 90. Nozzle spacing, I think we currently run 20 inch. In the future, if we ever did get a different sprayer, I wouldn't mind doing Y dropping. I know a lot of you guys know what that is. It's just basically late season nitrogen applying right there at the row in corn. And we were looking at specifically what nozzle spacing you have to have in order to do that, and I guess it's universal, really. You can go from, you can utilize either 15 or 20 or whatever nozzle spacing you run, I guess. It's just a matter of running the hose to the bracket from your nozzle. So it doesn't matter as long as you can set it up for 20 inch rows, I believe, 30 inch rows, and I believe if people still run 36 inch rows, which I don't know anybody in this area that does, but I know there's still guys that still run 36 inch rows. But yeah, so if we ever did, I would like to Y drop, so nozzle spacing wouldn't really be a huge factor. I think Dad would like to go 15 inch nozzle spacing though. Personally, I don't know too much about spraying. I'm learning though more and more, and I think 15s would probably be a better way to go just because of coverage. Um, so, but yeah, I know this has been a really highly requested video. Everybody's been messaging me throughout the years that they've seen this sprayer that they've always wanted to do a walk around. So, or wanted me to do a walk around and pretty much show how we did this. So that's that, and I guess stay tuned for more videos. I know in the last video I did say that we were done with harvest. I meant to say we were done with corn, as I posted on Instagram. Yeah, we did finish corn last week, as today's Wednesday, November 14th. So hopefully we did have 2 inches of snow on the ground as of Monday. So it's all melted away for the most part, but we're not going to be able to run beans this week at all. We still have 80 acres of double crop beans yet to run. And as far as I know, it sounds like there's talking snow tomorrow night. So should have another vlog out tomorrow on the building, as I haven't done one of those in a while. I know for those of you, since this video is coming out tonight, just watched the farm office part 2 pouring foundation time lapse. So that will be coming out, or that did come out. I'll be doing more of those throughout this week. That way I can get caught up on that, since I'll do that vlog tomorrow on the building, since we're going to be pretty much doing a little bit of work on that until we can cut beans. So otherwise, harvest is almost done and slowly making progress on the office. And once harvest is done, we'll be full throttle on the office then. So otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.